Good morning. So glad to be with you here. So glad to have this opportunity to practice together with you. I wrote a little note on the live chat about the Zoom meeting that will follow afterwards. So if this is something that you feel would support you in your life, in your practice, to connect with the community in this way, it's not going to be recorded. So it will just be, that event, that gathering happening in the moment of just for us. So here we are in the continuing confinement experience, and to continue the analogy that many people have used about being on retreat. It changes, and we might feel at some point that we've kind of found an even keel, and then we find ourselves getting edgy and impatient, and maybe being a little snappy with the people in our lives, and so it's an ongoing practice in mindfulness and kindness and patience. Just looking at the live chat. Hi, Theo and Joan and Helena and Miriam, Oleg, Cynthia. Yeah. So nice to have friends and people who have not signed in on live chat. That's fine. You don't need to. Just really a warm greeting to all. It feels so wonderful to gather with you. So this ongoing challenge and extraordinary unfolding conditions that we are living in and through, it's such an opportunity as well as a challenge. Won't search for a better word to practice with. So yeah, I find that with my partner, living together, and we're both, even non-pandemic times, we're pretty sensitive and considerate. We know each other very well after many years together, and we try not to step on each other's toes or hurt one another, with reactivity. And yeah, we found ourselves getting into these little tiffs yesterday, and then at night we talked about it and took a breath, and that's how it is. And whether you're alone or with a family or with one other person or with an animal companion, whether you're working from home or find yourself with just really a lot of time on your hands, I think that we need to, as we always need to in our meditation practice, in our mindfulness practice, we need to remember to begin again with kindness, with patience, allowing those feelings to be felt, to be received, to be acknowledged, to be given space, and to be let go. And it's not that we have to do anything to let go, aside from being mindful and stopping the gripping, stopping the grasping at our feelings and the stories that we create in our minds about them, about that other person or that situation or whatever it is. We just need to give space within our heart, within our body, within our mind, and we find that the fear, the anxiety, the frustration, the anger, the wanting begins to loosen its grip, and maybe not entirely. Maybe it's still there. Maybe we still feel a kind of a low-level anxiety or frustration, but that space of awareness is so helpful. It's really so helpful. On Friday, I talked about patience and kindness, and I think it was a small group, so I'm going to just bring forward some of those ideas. So patience is not gritting your teeth and clenching your jaw and saying, I'm going to endure this somehow, and nor is patience a kind of a shutting down and numbing ourselves with resignation. Patience is one of the perfections of the heart, the parami, and patience is a quality of openness of heart, which allows us to be fully present with our experience, knowing that it's not our preference, that it's not what we would choose. It may be difficult, it may be painful, and yet we can be with it. So patience, patience is really helpful, and the Buddha said it's one of the it's one of the most important, most powerful of the qualities of heart to cultivate, and certainly in these times, patience is really, really important. And kindness and patience, I think they dovetail a fair bit. That when we can be kind to ourselves and to others, it includes accepting what we maybe would not prefer. It includes accepting ourselves as we are, accepting that in this moment we feel reactive, accepting that in this moment the person that we are living with or that we are relating to is maybe not manifesting in their most skillful way, and being patient and kind. So kindness also is a way of inviting, drawing forth the best. So when we are kind, we can invite forward somebody to show up as their best self. We're drawing forth those qualities of generosity, of giving of ourselves, of attentiveness, in whatever way kindness is manifesting, goodwill, caring, and other words for kindness. And this is also one of the parami, one of those beautiful qualities of the heart. And of course, it's one of the Brahma Vihara, the boundless qualities of heart that help lay the groundwork for liberation. So, yeah. So I'd like to perhaps now move into our practice, and I'll give some guidance in the practice. So please take a posture that is supportive to you, and you don't have to be relating to the computer. You can turn away, and you can just, close your eyes, and you can be sitting on a chair or a bench or cushion. You can be lying down if that's what's most supportive to you. So finding a posture which feels stable and balanced. So arriving fully in the body. So in addition to the posture being stable and balanced, it should also be easeful. So comfortable enough for you to hold without squirming, without needing to shift more than maybe once, if that, preferably not even. And also energized. So the posture is energized. You're lifting from the base of the spine through the crown of the head. So there's this quality of commitment, which is expressed in the posture. Your eyes closed, or just slightly open with the gaze downward and soft. Hands resting on the lap, folded or on the thighs. Feel the earth supporting you. And perhaps in our hearts we can really open to that with gratitude, knowing that the earth is always supporting us, and we're always in relation to the earth. Whether we're standing, whether we're sitting or walking or lying down, we're always in relation to the earth. We're always touching the earth, except maybe for a brief moment. We're jumping up in the air and then we land again. And relaxing into that support that the earth gives us. As we gather and collect our attention, I invite you to bring to mind as well that we bring the whole earth into our sitting with us. So in this body, we carry the whole earth. The Buddha even said, in this fathom-long body, which is about 6 feet, I think, a fathom, in this fathom-long body, the whole universe arises and passes away. So in our bones, in our flesh, in our blood, in our saliva, in our breath, in the life energy, in the warmth of our body, burning the fuel of the food that we fed it. The earth is present in this body. The earth, the air, the water, the fire. And sometimes when I begin practice, I have a sense of Gaia, the earth, our Mother Earth, just resting in my heart. That beautiful, our beautiful blue planet, with all the life, the diversity of life, all the suffering and all the triumphs, all the beauty and all the pain, and every form in which life takes, all its diversity. And if you like, you can bring that into your heart with kindness and compassion. And so that we can have a sense of our practice being dedicated for the benefit of all. As we begin to practice and we are coming home to ourselves and turning into our hearts and our minds, our bodies, we can have a sense that we're doing this together with all beings and for the benefit of all, in the service of all. And so feeling the body sitting on the earth and feeling the breath rising and falling. As we begin the practice, very often our breath we bring an intentionality to the breath. And so we may find that it's longer than a normal breath, that we're not kind of intentionally focusing on and collecting our attention around. And you may, if you like, as you are gathering your attention around the body and the breath, you can perhaps breathe in a deep breath and just let go. You can do that a couple of times. And inviting the preoccupations of our daily lives. And these preoccupations, whether we're in confinement or not, they do follow us around in our minds. And so let those preoccupations just, let's put them aside for now. And take this sacred time to practice, this time that we've taken, that we've made for ourselves, and dedicated to beginning again in practice, showing up in each moment. And I invite you to, if you are breathing with intentionality, as you feel that you're settling, just let the controlling of the breath go and let the breath rise and fall naturally. And notice how the breath expresses itself. Maybe it's a bit more subtle or soft. It's not so long. Maybe it is. Maybe it feels tight, maybe it feels more relaxed. So just see how your breath is. You may be feeling the breath in a particular place, like your nostrils or your chest or your abdomen. Maybe it's a more generalized sense in the whole body. You might investigate for a couple of minutes where, more deeply, like really exploring the breath. Where do I feel the beginning of the in-breath? Where do I feel the middle of the in-breath and the end of the in-breath? And what is it like when the in-breath finishes and the out-breath begins? Is there a pause? Is there a kind of a seamless turning? And how do I feel the beginning of the out-breath? Do I feel it in the same place as the beginning of the in-breath, or do I feel it in a different place? If I let go of controlling where I'm directing my attention, but I just bring a curiosity, an investigation to this amazing activity that we do all the time, this really wonderful, life-giving activity, especially precious. Perhaps we've thought about how precious our breath is during this time of pandemic, and so just really appreciating the breath and noticing how the out-breath expresses itself and where we experience it. And then that moment at the end of the out-breath, before the next in-breath, just inviting you to really inhabit that space before the next in-breath begins. A moment of stillness, just a half a moment of stillness. So if you like exploring the whole flow of the breath in the body, I invite you to explore expanding the mindfulness of breathing into feeling experiencing mindfulness permeating the whole body. So rather than focusing on a particular point in the body, if this is an invitation, so see how it is for you. You might explore opening up and having a sense of the whole body, feeling the whole posture of the body, sitting or lying down, and also having an inner experience of the body, the sensations in the body, and the quality of energy in the body. Expanding mindfulness to include the whole body awareness. Mindfulness filling the whole body. And noticing, perhaps there are places where the mindfulness is fuller and brighter, and perhaps places which are more in shadow, or where there's less awareness. And you could explore how that is. You could bring a bit of investigation into your practice, a bit of interest and curiosity about how mindfulness is present in the whole body. And as you do this exploration over the next little while, you could also bring an intention and an invitation into the body to relax, to become more calm, more settled. In the last few minutes of the meditation, as you abide mindfully in the body, notice where there is ease in the body. It might be in a particular place where you experience this more than in others, or maybe it's a general feeling in the body. Maybe there's more ease, but explore and see if you discover that maybe in the upper chest, when you rest your attention there, maybe there's some joy, or in the forearms, maybe you feel some energy or well-being. And the Buddha said that these pleasant experiences that arise, that manifest in our meditation practice. It's not that we're grasping them, but we are taking them in. We're acknowledging them. We're allowing them to nourish us. So let the joy, the ease, the well-being, the contentment, whatever beautiful quality is arising in your practice, allow yourself to take it in and to be nourished by it. And if that's not present for you, if you still feel, if you're feeling that the mind is scattered or fragmented, then simply knowing that the mind is active is really helpful. It's cultivating the quality of mindfulness that is so important to not get drawn into and caught up in. And so just really appreciating the capacity to be aware, to be mindful of the thoughts, and to bring compassion, to bring kindness, to bring patience, forbearance to any, if what you're experiencing in your meditation feels challenging. So just really, we always are exactly where we are. We always, and wanting to be other than where we are, or wanting things to be other than how they are, is the definition of dukkha. It's the definition of stress. So just being with how things are always brings a diminishment of suffering. As we finish our sit, let's collect in our hearts and minds the blessings, the goodness of this practice that we've done. And let's offer it, dedicate it to the well-being, to the safety, to the happiness and liberation of all beings everywhere. So I invite you to bring forward anything that you'd like to share, be it a question or a comment about your practice. And while you may be doing that, maybe if you are writing something, I'd like to just go a little bit further into the guidance, or just explore the intention behind the guidance that I offered during the practice. So these instructions are from the Anapanasati Sutta, the mindfulness with breathing discourse that is one of the key discourses of the Vipassana practice. And this is a full teaching. It's both a teaching of tranquility, samatha, and insight, vipassana. And so it's divided into 4 what are called tetrads. They're verses or points. So 4 verses of 4 points each, and so I was focusing on the first verse and then just beginning into the second, the first tetrad, the first section, and then beginning into the second. And so this focus on mindfulness in the whole body is really a great development in our practice. It's such an important development, and it helps us not only in our meditation practice, but also in our daily life. The body is an incredible ally in our practice. So even though we can practice remembering and recognizing that this body is not me or mine, that is, it is made up of component parts, it's changing, it's conditioned. And at the same time, there is that just paradox of practice that it is our foundation for practice, and that we can look to the body. We can, as we find our home in the body, we can rest in the body, and we can listen to the body and look to the body for feedback, for as a mirror to reflect to us how we are in this moment and what's happening in this moment. And resting in the body helps us from the mind projecting wildly into the future, or going back, kind of compulsively or repetitively into the past. And so we can rest in the body as our home base. So somebody's asking about, well, what about when there's illness, and this it doesn't happen to be COVID, thank goodness. It's another kind of illness, but it's in the lungs, in the, cause coughing perhaps, and so yeah, in that case, then the breath can be challenging, and we don't need to use the breath as our meditation object. It's a really wonderful one, but just resting in sensation in the body can be also helpful. Feeling the hands, the feet, the touch points where the body is resting on the earth. We can also bring in the Dharma, study of the Dharma, and I really encourage you, if you can, to use this time to, if you find that you do have more time now, which many of us do, to deeply explore the Dharma. And there is a way of meditating which is kind of a reflecting, it's more contemplative practice, contemplating some aspect of the Dharma. I gave a very, very brief contemplation on what's called the Four Elements practice, which is from the Satipatthana Sutta. And that can be a really great way of practicing. In fact, in the Satipatthana, the four foundations of mindfulness, or the four applications of mindfulness, as it's more commonly translated now, then there are a number of different contemplations especially on the body. So one of them is this contemplation on the four elements, and really contemplating the earth element in the body, and the earth element outside the body, and the water element in the body, and feeling the water element, feeling the earth element in the body. So the earth element, where do I feel form? Where do I feel the kind of the hardness, those minerals which form the bones and form the rocks, and the seashells outside, where we find this resistance and hardness and form, and then the water, so the saliva, the blood, that they can really feel the saliva. You can really feel the moistness in the eyes. So the water element in the body, and the fire element, the warmth of the body, feeling the temperature on the surface of the body, feeling the temperature in the core of the body, and the breath coming and going, feeling the air, so in the body and outside the body. Of course, the fire element outside the body is the sun. So the warmth of the sun, and especially as it's getting stronger, as the earth tilts more toward the sun in this hemisphere. So those kinds of contemplations can be really deepening. And there's also a contemplation on death, contemplating the death of the body, and how the body decomposes and returns to the earth. And so using your imagination to connect with that, and this time of this pandemic really is, if we take this opportunity, it really is an opportunity to connect with the truth of our own mortality. This is what arouses anxiety and fear. It's the dying. Aside from okay, feeling anxious about the economy and feeling anxious about our parents, but essentially it's loss, and the greatest loss is the loss of the body, the loss of the life that we have, that we don't really have, but it's given to us for a time. And so contemplating that and recognizing, with compassion, that this is our shared journey. As the Buddha said, we're all siblings in birth, aging, illness, and death. And so it always, in our ordinary lives, the busyness of our lives and kind of the short-term goals of our lives and accomplishing our list for the day and getting done what needs to get done, what we promised we'd get done, and so on. And those long-term realities can feel very distant. And so this brings it closer. And we can maybe open to that with compassion, open to that with courage. What does it mean to us to contemplate our mortality? And how does it call us to let go? There's a contemplation, 5 daily reflections that many people do daily, and I have it actually taped up to my mirror, but I don't know if I could say it by heart. But the essence of it is all that is dear to me, all that I feel that I have, my relationships, my possessions, and even this body will sooner or later be lost. And so standing in the fire of that, standing in the truth of that is deeply liberating. And so we maybe can open to that. It also puts things in perspective. The Buddha said in the Dhammapada, for those who know that they will die, grievances fall away. For those who don't know, they cling to grievances. And so when we put things in perspective, and when we stand in the truth of our mortality, and the truth that what we thought we had is uncertain, it can feel uncomfortable, and it calls us also to a deeper grounding, in what the Buddha called the changeless, what we can discover within our being, that which doesn't arise and pass away, that which, as we deepen in our meditation practice, we may glimpse for a moment, and we may rest in for a few timeless moments, and we may learn to live from the vision of that, live from the view of that, live from, even if it's not our present moment reality at each moment, when we orient ourselves toward the deathless, toward that which is unchanging, that which is not born and does not die, we find a deeper grounding. So that's why this is an opportunity. And when we find that deeper grounding, our hearts open in compassion. We find more energy to reach out and support those who are suffering, and be open and supportive in our own suffering as well. So I'd like to invite you, if you are able to to join a Zoom meeting at 11:45. It will run from 11:45 to 12:30. As I said, I can send the link. If you don't have the link and you would like it, go to my website, which I wrote on the live chat, and you can send me an email through that website, and I'll send you the Zoom link, and I'll close that down at 11:40. I'll send it at 11:40, and then I won't be checking my email after that. So if you do want to join, please send that right away, or if some of you have already received the link, and if not, it's before the rains come. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, but I hope you've had an opportunity to enjoy the beautiful day, and I wish you a lovely week, and look forward to seeing you again next week, or being with you, joining together with you again next week. So be well, be safe, be healthy, and I send my love and my whole heart as we are together in the Saina.